Hello everyone and welcome to another movie review. Today we're taking a look at the latest video game adaptation, Ratchet Clank. But is it a good adaptation of this franchise? Well, let's talk about it now. Ratchet Clank recently got a brand new video game, which is actually a reboot of the whole franchise as a whole, but keeping the same basic story elements of the very first game, but with a brand new look, with the new updated graphics and a total new vision, but still maintaining that original story. And the movie is actually really based on that game as well. However, if you only play the old games and haven't played the latest game, you do not need to worry. The story elements of the movie really play out like the original Ratchet Clank games. Without spoiling really much, you see more or less the same kind of meeting between Ratchet and Clank themselves. Ratchet is always wanting to work with Quark and be part of being a hero and all of that, so all those elements are there. Even the villains themselves are actually the classic original Ratchet and Clank game, so you won't be lost. So essentially, Ratchet just wants to become a hero with joining the squad that Captain Quark leads. Meanwhile, Captain Quark and his team are working to take down a villain that's destroying planets throughout the galaxy. But how does this story play out? Is it play out differently from the games? No, I think that the essence of the games is actually very similar to the games. The comedic style and humor and storytelling, cartoon style, everything's pretty much the same like the games, which may be a good or bad thing. It is a good thing because it makes it very, very faithful to the game. Unfortunately, not all those things really work as a whole for a movie. The movie itself tries to go a little bit deeper with the characters at times, but sometimes it just feels incomplete. Just when you think the movie's about to focus on developing more a character, the movie decides to shift from that and focus more on doing funny jokes and more crazy action. Ultimately, this is because the movie is more intended for a younger audience. But that's just it. The movie doesn't really deliver more beyond the younger audience that it wants to capture. But for the adults and parents that are discovering the franchise as a whole, they'll feel a little lost if they haven't really played the games. And it's just gonna be some quick cartoon thing that they saw. And that's the problem with Ratchet & Clank as a whole. It has a story going, but it doesn't really have a meaningful story. It doesn't have a story that is going to connect to people. It's not a story that kids will come out learning a huge lesson or anything. And ultimately, it makes you wonder if this movie really needed to come out in theaters. It doesn't really have all the merits to really become a full theatrical release because it doesn't really go beyond what you could get from the game. Now, I'm not saying the movie is bad itself. I really enjoyed it, but that's because I know these characters, I know the video game, so I knew all the great moments that I was going to have with all of them. But there were times in the movie where I just wanted someone to hand me the controller and I could play, because it felt ultimately like a lot of cutscenes I was watching. And that's really my main concern with the movie as a whole and the concept of making video game movies. What's really the difference that you're gonna do when you're telling me this story in the version of a movie, but it's pretty much the same style and very similar approach from the video game experience? The movie itself is a really great adaptation of this story. But did we really need this to become a movie? And that's the thing that makes you wonder, because it's essentially the game. Why do I want to go to see on theaters this story when the video game provides me the same type of medium overall? I mean, yes, there's a bit of more context, there's a bit more cutscenes overall, and more fun stuff going on. You get to see a bit more of the characters interacting. But you're not giving me something deeper. You're not giving me deeper knowledge of the character. You're not going more intimate with them. As a whole, there's a couple of new characters that I personally had not seen before in the franchise. I may be wrong. And that's some of the new Captain Quark's group of members. But ultimately, they're new characters, but they don't feel really relevant in the story at all. Like, I don't even remember their names, to be honest, because they were simply just there in the movie. They really didn't provide much to the story. Captain Quark pretty much steals the show as a whole, and Ratchet himself and Clank. But the rest of the characters, well, with the exception of one villain, it only shows us that the classic characters from the franchise really work, but the new creations don't really work in the end. That said, overall, I think it's still a fun film. You'll definitely have a few laughs here and there, and it has some pretty fun pacing overall, and you just want to see something more relaxing, something animated that doesn't try to take itself seriously too much, then I think you'll enjoy Ratchet & Clank, but only if you really like the franchise. If you don't know anything about these characters, if you don't even care about these characters at all, then you're probably not going to get to like them after seeing this movie. If you really like this franchise as a whole, you'll definitely like this movie, you'll definitely enjoy it. Anyway, I give Ratchet & Clank a 7 out of 10, only recommended to fans of Ratchet & Clank. Thank you for watching this movie review, and stay tuned for Captain America Civil War movie review.